Well, hello, boys and girls. It's great to be in your classrooms. Today, I'd like to talk to you about making mistakes. We all make mistakes. I make mistakes, and I'm sure sometimes you make mistakes too. And that's okay. The important thing about mistakes is that we learn from our mistakes and that we don't make the same mistake over again. So I found a neat story called Zach Makes Mistakes. And in the story, you'll see that Zach learns how to get through his mistakes and get over his mistakes and self correct his mistakes. It's a neat story, and I think you're going to like it. So let's get started, okay?
Zach Makes Mistakes, written by William Mulcahy, illustrated by Darren McKee. Zach was excited for his class field trip to the museum. He could hardly wait to see the bison display. But as he walked into his classroom, he realized he had made a big mistake. Oh no! He had forgotten to wear his orange school shirt. Students were supposed to wear them on field trips. He asked his teacher, Mrs. Rosamond, if he could call his mom. His teacher let him use her cell phone, but Zach's mom was already at work. Sorry, Mom said, I can't bring your t-shirt to school. Does that mean I have to stay at school while you guys go on the field trip? Zach asked Miss Rosamond. No, Miss Rosamond said, I have an extra shirt. It's a little big, but it's better than nothing. Zach's best friend Sonia tried to cheer him up. Everyone makes mistakes, she said. Easy for you to say, Zach said. You're not wearing a big ugly tent to the field trip. Sonia told Zach about the time she made a huge mistake by dressing up for her friend's birthday party in a Halloween costume instead of her dress up clothes. I thought dress up meant wearing a costume. Zach laughed, thinking about Sonia wearing a costume at a fancy party. By the time they got to the museum, he felt a little better. Before they went inside, Miss Rosamond reminded everyone to listen to the guide. Be polite, listen carefully, and don't interrupt, she said. The guide's name was Tim. He told them about some of the cool exhibits they would see that day. He also reminded them to follow the rules. Suddenly, a cell phone rang. I'm so sorry, Miss Rosamond said. Reaching into her purse, she quickly turned it off. Zach felt embarrassed for her. When the presentation ended, Miss Rosamond talked to Tim. I'm really sorry about that, she said. I forgot to turn off my phone. Tim told her it was okay. The museum was even more awesome than Zach thought it would be. He saw moon rocks. He saw Blackfoot Indian clothing and a collection of weird bugs and butterflies. Best of all, he saw American bison running across a prairie. The bison looked so alive and soft, he reached across the rope and put his hand on one of them. Hey, Tim called, no touching. Zach pulled his hand back. How embarrassing! He wished he could hide in a closet until the trip was over. When it was time for lunch, Zach sat next to Miss Rosamond. I feel awful when I mess up, he confided. I know what you mean, his teacher replied. When I forgot to turn off my phone, I felt pretty foolish. Zach nodded. But, she went on, I have learned to deal with my mistakes and move on. I wish I could learn to move on. How do you do it? Miss Rosamond smiled and showed him what was on her necklace. This is the key to mistakes. Take a look. 3 words were engraved on the loops of the handle. Detect, correct, reflect. The stem of the key had words too. Nobody's perfect. Miss Rosamond said, when I was young, mistakes made me feel really bad, like I was a failure. My grandma helped me see how to learn from mistakes and feel better about them. Then she had this key made to help me remember. Zach laughed. It sounded like something his dad would have taught him. The first thing is to detect your mistake, to find the reason for it, Miss Rosamond said. Mistakes are made by not understanding something, by not paying attention, or by not being careful. Which was the reason for your mistake? I wasn't paying attention when I didn't put on the school shirt. I also wasn't paying attention when I broke the no touching rule, Miss Rosamond said. My mistake was from not being careful. I thought I turned off my phone, but I didn't. Zach remembered Sonia's story and laughed. He told his teacher how she wore a costume to a dress-up party. Her mistake was from not understanding. Sounds like you get the detect part, Miss Rosamond said. Miss Rosamond said, the next loop on the key says correct. Zach said, when Tim told me no touching, I stopped. Exactly. And when my phone rang, I turned it off right away. And I apologized to Tim. There are lots of ways to correct a mistake. But wait, Zach said, when I tried to call my mom to bring my shirt, she was already at work. I couldn't fix that mistake. He looked down at his huge orange shirt. At least you found this, he said. Sometimes you can't fix a mistake, but it's important to try, his teacher said, and sometimes you need a little help. The last loop on the key says reflect. Miss Rosamond said, that means to look back on your mistake and think about it. When I look back on my mistakes, I feel awful, Zach said. I try to forget them. Well, said Miss Rosamond, instead of focusing on your negative feeling, how bad you felt, try thinking about what you'll do to learn from your mistakes. That's something positive that can happen. For instance, I bet you learned to think ahead more when you're getting ready for school, especially on field trip day. That's for sure, Zach said. Is there anything left? Miss Rosamond asked. Zach read the stem of the key. Nobody's perfect. Miss Rosamond said, my grandma put that there to remind me that everyone makes mistakes, and not to be too hard on myself. Zach said, one time my dad took my brother and me to the movies. We got all the way there, and he realized he forgot his wallet. Big mistake. Adults make as many mistakes as kids, Miss Rosamond said, probably more. The key is not to let them get you down. Miss Rosamond said, when things go wrong, it can be hard to keep a positive attitude, but we have to remember mistakes are how we learn. Besides, Zach said, nobody's perfect. Exactly, said Miss Rosamond. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Thomas Edison. To help you learn from your mistakes, you can use Miss Rosamond's key to mistakes. Detect your mistake by figuring out why you made it. Correct your mistake by trying to fix the wrong you did. Reflect on your mistake by thinking about what you learned. How can you do better next time? Not only will the key to mistakes help you learn from your mistakes, it will help you remember that nobody's perfect, including yourself.
Subscribe our channel and subscribe for more stories and more songs here at Storytime with Annie and Rocco. Bye for now. Have a great day. I'm kind. Look at me. Take care of your earth and make her happy.
All right, boys and girls. So, as you can tell by the story, there were a lot of lessons learned. That was a really neat comparison of the key and things that you can do when you make a mistake. Remember that the first thing that you want to do is detect the mistake. See if that mistake was made because it was something that maybe you didn't understand, or maybe you weren't paying attention, or maybe you just weren't being careful. So figure out or detect why you made the mistake. This way, that doesn't happen again. The second thing you can do is try to find ways to correct your mistake. And if you can't figure out ways on your own, you can always ask for help. Finally, the third idea on the key was to reflect. That is a really important part, boys and girls, of really fixing our mistakes. To really fix our mistakes, we need to reflect. Reflect means to think about, and not just look back and think about what mistakes you made, but look back and think about what you have learned from that mistake. Did you learn that maybe you need to pay a little bit closer attention so that you can avoid making those mistakes? Did you learn that maybe you need help understanding what the instructions are? Or did you learn that maybe next time you just need to be a little bit more careful? I love that quote by Thomas Edison about mistakes, where he says he didn't make a mistake, he actually just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That's a really great way of looking at things and thinking about things, boys and girls. I hope that this lesson helped you to learn how to deal with mistakes that you might make in life. Remember, things can always be solved. It's just important to understand them, to think about them, and to change them. Thank you for listening, boys and girls. Have a great day. Bye bye.